All right, let's pick up where we left off in our geopolitical soap opera, shall we? Because if the relationship between Iran and Israel was already complicated, throw in the words nuclear weapons, and suddenly it's less a soap opera and more a high-stakes, real-life thriller directed by a very stressed-out director. Today, we're zooming in on Iran's nuclear program and Israel's deep-seated anxieties about it. It's like watching two extremely nervous chess players, each convinced the other is about to pull out a bazooka instead of a pawn. And the board? Well, the board is the entire Middle East. No pressure, right? So, Iran's nuclear program. For decades, Iran has insisted its nuclear ambitions are purely for peaceful purposes. You know, electricity, medical isotopes, maybe a glow-in-the-dark energy drink for those late-night prayer sessions. We just want clean energy, they declare with a straight face, which, on the surface, sounds perfectly reasonable. Who doesn't want clean energy? But here's where Israel, and a fair chunk of the rest of the world, gets a serious case of the jitters. Because while Iran says peaceful energy, Israel hears covert bomb factory. It's like your neighbor tells you they're building a shed, but it's shaped suspiciously like a missile silo, and they keep buying enriched uranium. You'd be a little suspicious, wouldn't you? Israel's concern isn't just paranoia, though. Iran has, historically, made some rather inflammatory statements about Israel's very existence. When a country's leaders regularly talk about wiping you off the map, it tends to make you take their nuclear program a tad bit seriously. It's less a disagreement and more a fundamental dispute over the right to exist. So, for Israel, an Iranian nuclear bomb isn't just another weapon. It's perceived as an existential threat, a literal do-or-die scenario. Imagine if your crazy ex-roommate who still sends you passive-aggressive texts suddenly announced they were getting a really big, very pointy sword. You'd probably install extra locks. Or move. This leads us to the nuclear race, or rather, the nuclear anxiety sprint. It's a bit like two cars on a highway. Iran is slowly, painstakingly building its engine, enriching uranium. Israel, meanwhile, is watching with a stopwatch and a very large flashing danger sign. And while Israel maintains a policy of ambiguity regarding its own nuclear capabilities, meaning they probably have them, but they're not going to brag about it on Instagram, Iran's progress sends shivers down their spine. It's the ultimate game of keep away, but the ball is a potential world-ending device. So, what's Israel's playbook? Well, their stated policy is to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons at any cost. This isn't just talk. We've seen alleged sabotage, cyberattacks. Remember Stuxnet, the computer worm that made centrifuges spin themselves to death? That was a wild ride. And even targeted assassinations of Iranian nuclear scientists. It's a covert war, fought in the shadows, with cyber code and mysterious explosions as the weapons. It's like a spy movie, but with real-world stakes and fewer cool gadgets, or maybe cooler gadgets, we just don't know. They're basically trying to delay, disrupt, and deter Iran's progress by any means necessary, short of an all-out conventional war, for now. And the international community? Oh, they're in the middle, wringing their hands trying to broker deals, impose sanctions, and generally act like the exasperated parents of two squabbling children. The JCPOA, or the Iran nuclear deal, was supposed to put a leash on Iran's program in exchange for sanctions relief. It was a complex, imperfect compromise, like trying to negotiate bedtime with a pair of highly energetic toddlers who just had sugar. But then the U.S. pulled out, Iran started enriching more, and suddenly we're back to square one, but with added layers of mistrust and frustration. It's like everyone agreed on the rules of a board game. Then one player flipped the board, and now no one knows what's going on. This race, or lack thereof, depending on who you ask, is a classic example of the security dilemma on steroids. Iran feels it needs a strong nuclear program for deterrence and national pride, especially given the history of external interference. We just want to protect ourselves, they argue. Israel, seeing this, feels it must act to prevent that program from becoming a bomb, believing their very existence is at stake. We have to protect ourselves, they insist. It's a vicious cycle where each side's perceived defensive action is seen as an offensive threat by the other. It's like two people pointing loaded water pistols at each other, but they're convinced the other's water pistol is filled with acid. No one blinks. So, is a nuclear weapon a trump card for Iran? If they acquired one, it would certainly change the regional power balance dramatically. It would provide a huge deterrent against external attack, granting them a kind of untouchable status. No one wants to mess with a nuclear-armed state, even a rogue one. 56. It's the ultimate don't even think about it shield. But it's also a double-edged sword. Such a move would almost certainly trigger an even more aggressive response from Israel, potentially leading to a preemptive strike and spark a full-blown regional nuclear arms race. Imagine if everyone in the neighborhood suddenly decided they needed a nuclear bomb just to feel safe. Your property values would plummet, along with your life expectancy. The tension is palpable. Every new report about Iranian centrifuges spinning faster or another alleged Israeli covert operation ratchets up the fear. It's a constant tightrope walk with the entire Middle East and, frankly, the world holding its breath. The goal for many is to prevent Iran from ever having the capability to build a bomb, not just preventing them from building one. Because once Pandora's box is opened, it's pretty hard to close it again, especially when the box contains a mushroom cloud. So, is the nuclear program a trump card for Iran, guaranteeing its security and regional influence? Or is it a double-edged sword pushing the region closer to an unimaginable conflict? The answer, as always in the Middle East, is probably both, and it's complicated. It's a game of chicken with nuclear stakes, where both drivers are convinced the other is bluffing. Let's just hope nobody actually steps on the gas. Right?